16. The age that felt like waiting. Like the corridor between wherever you were and wherever the real version of your life was going to begin. Every adult around you measuring you against credentials and grades and behavior metrics that had almost nothing to do with the things that were actually going to determine the quality of the next 40 years. And nobody, not one person, saying the things that would have mattered most. Not because they didn't care, because the things that would have mattered most are not the kind of things adults say to teenagers. They are too direct, too honest, too likely to be received as criticism rather than investment. So they stay unsaid. And the 16-year-old who needed to hear them figures them out eventually. At 23, at 27, at 31, through the specific cost of not having heard them when the hearing would have cost the least. Steve Rogers at 16 was not the man the serum eventually amplified. He was a kid in the wrong body for everything he was trying to do, being told in 100 different ways that the gap between where he was and what he wanted was too large to cross. What he never had, what nobody said to him plainly, was a specific, honest account of what actually needed to be built, and that the building was possible, regardless of the starting point. This video is that account. The things I wish someone had said at 16, plainly, without softening them, the first thing. The opinions of your peers about your choices right now matter far less than you currently believe they do, and far more than you wish they did. At 16, the social environment feels like the entire world. The approval or disapproval of the people around you has an outsized influence on every decision. What to wear, what to pursue, what to be seen doing and not doing. What nobody says is that virtually none of those people will be in the room when the decisions made at 16 produce their results at 26. The audience you are performing for right now is temporary. The choices you are making for them are permanent. Make the choices for the person who will be 30, not the people who will be gone by 22. The second thing, your body right now is the most adaptable it will ever be. The physical capacity built between 16 and 24 builds on an engine that will never again be as responsive to training or as forgiving of mistakes. This is not about aesthetics. It is about the physical discipline built during these years becoming the embodied reference point for what consistent effort produces, a reference point that transfers into every non-physical domain of the life. The man who built physical discipline at 16 carries the direct bodily knowledge of what showing up through discomfort produces. Build it now, not because the body is important, because the evidence the body provides is irreplaceable. The third thing, reading books you chose, for reasons you chose, for 1 hour every day, will make you a different kind of thinker by 22 than everyone around you who didn't. Not smarter, necessarily. Different. The specific cognitive architecture built through sustained engagement with complex written argument. The ability to hold a long chain of reasoning, to sit with ambiguity, to resist the first available answer, is built through reading and almost nothing else. At 16, you have the time. The time disappears. The architecture, once built, does not. Read now, while the time exists and the brain is most plastic. Stay with this. What comes next is the thing I wish most urgently that someone had said at 16, the one that, had I heard it clearly enough to act on it, would have changed the most about the years between 16 and 25. The fourth thing. The thing you are most afraid to try, because failure would be visible, is exactly the thing worth trying right now. Because at 16, the cost of visible failure is lower than it will ever be again. The social stakes feel enormous. They are not. A failure at 16 is absorbed into the context of being 16, where failure is expected and forgiven, and quickly forgotten by everyone except the person who experienced it. A failure at 32 carries different social weight. Try the thing now. Fail at it if necessary. Fail publicly if that is what the attempt produces. The scar tissue built from early visible failure is one of the most valuable things a person can carry into the harder attempts that come later. The fifth thing. No one is coming with the plan. Not a parent, not a teacher, not a mentor who happens to see what you could become and devotes themselves to helping you become it. That version of guidance exists for some people and not for most. The plan is yours to build. The direction is yours to choose. The specific and uncomfortable truth that nobody says at 16 is that the agency to direct the next decade belongs to the 16-year-old, not to the adults in the room. Rogers was told consistently that the direction he was trying to go was wrong for him. He directed himself anyway, not defiantly, persistently, with the quiet, daily, unremarkable decision to move toward the thing, rather than waiting for permission to move. The permission is not coming. Move anyway. The sixth thing. The gap between who you are performing to be and who you actually are is more visible to the people around you than you think, and less important to the right people than you fear. The performance of confidence when there is none. The performance of indifference when something matters. The performance of the identity that seems most socially viable rather than most personally true. The energy spent maintaining these performances is the energy that was not available for building anything real. The people worth keeping in your life will not leave when the performance drops. The people who only stay for the performance are not worth the energy the performance costs. Drop it earlier than feels safe. Build the actual thing instead of the performance of the thing. You came into this expecting nostalgia. The older voice looking back with regret, delivering wisdom that is too late to apply and too general to act on. Every one of these things is still applicable. If you are 16, they are applicable right now with the full compounding window ahead. If you are 24, they are applicable with the window narrowed but not closed. If you are 30, they are applicable with the acknowledgement that some of what was lost cannot be recovered, and the rest still can. The things worth saying at 16 do not expire at 17. They become more costly to apply with every year they remain unsaid and unacted on. But they do not become inapplicable. Rogers did not receive the information he needed at the age it would have cost least. He received it late, built on it anyway, and the building was real regardless of when it started. The same is available to you from wherever you are reading this. Tonight, the one that landed hardest, not the most comprehensive application of all six, the one specific thing from the six that named the gap in the current life most precisely. The one that, if someone had said it clearly at 16, would have changed a specific decision in a specific year that led to a specific distance from where you currently want to be. Name it. Write it in one sentence. Then write one specific, observable, daily behavior that begins closing that gap tomorrow. Not a plan, a behavior. The alarm set, the book opened, the performance dropped, the attempt made. The direction chosen without waiting for the permission that was never going to arrive. Rogers' trajectory changed, not when the right person finally said the right thing to him. It changed when he decided to direct himself, regardless of what was being said. The things this video said are the things nobody said at 16. They have been said now. What happens next is the same choice Rogers had. Direction, or continued waiting for the conditions that were never going to make the direction easier. The things nobody said at 16 were not unsayable. They were unsaid. Now they have been said. What you do with them is the only part that was always yours to decide. One gap, named tonight. One behavior, tomorrow. The years between 16 and the current age produced whatever they produced. The years between the current age and 30 are still being written. Write them differently from tonight. One question. Which of the six things, if someone had said it clearly to you at 16, would have changed the most about the years that followed? Drop it in the comments, not for judgment, because the naming of it is the first honest step toward the building that the 16-year-old version of you deserved, and the current version of you can still do. If this said what 16 needed to hear, subscribe. More of this. The things worth saying have been said. The rest is yours.